match, and already the action has begun without even the ring jackets being taken off.
Not even going to wait for the bell here, as Madonna's boyfriend goes right to work on Latin Lover, sending him to the floor.
And you hear in the background, for the predominantly Spanish-speaking audience here at the LA Sports Arena, the introductions to the crowd of the individual wrestlers. And these are the rudos, as they call them, the bad guys.
Madonna's boyfriend, based in Southern California, he has experience in both the U.S. and the Mexican styles. As you mentioned, just recently joining full-time with AAA. Psychosis, 27-year-old native of Tijuana, Mexico. Influenced, as you see, in style and costume by Jushin Thunder Liger of Japan. And Fuerza Guerrera, the leader, nicknamed the Mosquito of Merced, Mexico. You notice the mosquito-type design on the mask.
Psychosis is trained actually with Rey Mysterio Jr. They began wrestling school together, and it is going to be frightening in the way he puts his body on the line, as well as for Rey Mysterio Jr., 19 years old, 5'2" tall, 145 pounds. And now you hear the introduction of Heavy Metal, who, as we said, is the captain of the team, and Latin Lover, that's him right there.
Chris, interesting to note, you mentioned Rey Mysterio Jr. He is only 19 years old. He made his in-ring debut at the age of 14 back in 1989, actually a 5-year pro. And that's not all that unusual in Mexico. It's almost similar to women in tennis in the United States. The fact that these youngsters get involved with wrestling at such an early age. And due to the weight classes that they have in Mexico, they're encouraged to enter at a younger age.
Well, it's Fuerza Guerrera against Heavy Metal early on in this match, and once again the captains are Heavy Metal and Fuerza Guerrera. And you're going to see that move a heck of a lot in Lucha Libre. It's almost as much of a humiliating move as it is a pure wrestling move intended to do damage. And we see two of the possible superstars of the future in Lucha Libre, in Rey Mysterio Jr. and Psychosis.
This is the pairing that we've been looking for. As you said earlier, these two went to the same wrestling training camp. They've been rivals since then. This is their opportunity to shine on pay-per-view.
And Rey Mysterio Jr. has come up with some moves that we have literally never seen. He recovers from places that we think nobody can recover from, just like this. Look at that. And look out, Psychosis goes far away from the ring because he knows Rey Mysterio Jr. can come at you from I would guess about half a mile away from the ring. This guy can fly. In comes the big man, Luis Spicolli, who is not intimidated by the size of the former Super Nino in Mexico, the Super Kid. Look at the strength of Spicolli.
And look at the size difference, too. Spicolli and Rey Mysterio Jr. I'm sure he's going to take good advantage of this size difference, and now he goes to the strut.
And Rey Mysterio, I think Luis Spicolli knew what Rey Mysterio was about to do. And again, he's just 145 pounds, so frankly, Mike, this is not all that impressive a press.
And a slap to the face to add a little bit more disrespect, and now Rey from the top.
Oh! I'm not sure that Luis Spicolli is going to be able to catch Rey Mysterio Jr. that way. It doesn't hurt him, though. Spicolli's a tough guy, and now Latin Lover. He's 6'1", 235 pounds, the former bodybuilder, and he can mix it up with somebody the size of Luis Spicolli.
Also, actually, a male stripper before he came into wrestling. So his character that he plays, actually what he became before he entered professional wrestling. He's been with AAA for just 1 year.
How'd you find that out?
Unbelievable, the sources I have.
He's been wrestler for 3 years, and he can bump and grind with the best of them, and the fans really respond to that, although a lot of folks like Luis Spicolli here as well. Rather ineffectual. It does bounce the Latin Lover off. In September, along with Heavy Metal, he won the Mexican Tag Team titles. Oh, a clothesline, American style, and Spicolli again. You've heard that white man can't jump. Maybe they can't dance either if you judge by Spicolli. The Irish whip, a clothesline missed by the Latin Lover. He's given us a bad name. Oh!
What a super kick.
Again, we've got a 20 count outside the ring. However, if somebody is knocked outside the ring, you do tag. Members of the other team can come right in, and it looks like neither Psicosis nor Fuerza Guerrera want to meet Heavy Metal. And we should point out Heavy Metal's real name, Eric Casas, and you know who his father is, Mike.
He sure is. He is the son, Heavy Metal is the son of the referee that is wearing the bandana. That's Pepe Casas, as well as Tirantes, as you see with the suspenders.
And Psicosis with a clothesline out of nowhere. Heavy Metal a very close second in the high-risk moves category to Rey Mysterio Jr. and Psicosis, who I think everybody would consider are pretty much tied for first, and a clothesline by Heavy Metal out of nowhere as well.
Heavy Metal, 6 years as a pro. We mentioned trained by his father. He changed his villainous ways, and look at that move off the top.
And Psicosis comes right outside of the turnbuckle. The Irish whip by Heavy Metal. Psicosis tries to recover, misses a clothesline, and a pull of the hair. That long mane of the imposing Psicosis.
Heavy Metal changed his villainous ways after a feud with El Santo. He was inspired by that series of matches.
And at one time, in fact, Heavy Metal teamed with Fuerza Guerrera. It's just in the last year that he has come over to the side of the Technicos. And now, Super Nino, Rey Mysterio Jr., a slap from the 40-year-old leader. And Pepe Casas says, I didn't like that move at all. And neither did Rey Mysterio. Chris Cruz, Mike Tenay calling the action live here, exclusively on pay-per-view from the jam-packed LA Sports Arena. Mysterio Jr., that's an ineffectual football tackle. Oh, look at this flying maneuver. And Fuerza Guerrera does some damage. I can't even begin to call that. Again, Fuerza Guerrera, the captain of this team.
Chris, Rey Mysterio Jr. and Fuerza, who just had that exchange, are at odds over a feud that Rey Jr. has been having with Fuerza's son, Juventud Guerrera, who recently defeated Rey Mysterio Jr. for the lightweight title.
Interesting to point out, Mike, that in our research we found out in 1992, Rey Mysterio Jr. won the national welterweight title. He was 17 years old at the time, and so winning it, he became the youngest champion in the history of Lucha Libre. He's American, he's bilingual, raised in San Diego, but he has really been taken to heart by the fans of Lucha Libre, especially in Mexico. I'm not quite sure what Psicosis is going to do, and my guess is he's not quite sure either.
Well, when you think of Psicosis, the translation, psycho, and you seeing that right in the ring.
Again, it is frightening the way that he puts his body on the line for this great sport. Oh, look at that. Lands on his neck and on his head. And he knows he's in trouble, and he heads outside the ring. And unfortunately, you see Luis Piccoli, Madonna's boyfriend, backs right off the ring apron. He's getting up now, but so reluctantly. And Fuerza Guerrera says, I guess I'll try to get back in. Will Heavy Metal give him a break? The captain of the team against the captain of the Rudos. And Fuerza Guerrera, it looks like, knew exactly what he was planning for Heavy Metal. The Irish whip. Oh!
Low blow. And again, the officials did not see it. It looked from our vantage point like Tirantes had a clear view.
And Tirantes says it was on the inside of the thigh. That was not. That was a low blow, but Pepe Casas could not disqualify because... Oh!
I guess turnabout fair play.
And now Pepe
Casas. He acknowledges Tirantes, not a low blow.
That's great. In comes Luis Piccoli, and he breaks the hold. And again, the referees have a lot of latitude in deciding whether or not the wrestlers are going to tag. A suplex, and the big man, Piccoli, drops. Oh, it was blocked. Heavy Metal dropped the knee. I beg your pardon, blocked the knee. And now Luis Piccoli goes outside. He is an undisciplined wrestler. He's going to take care of business inside the ring.
Here comes that size advantage. We're going to see what Madonna's boyfriend has on his mind. He's going to power slam him. Apparently, he's got him picked up. Where's he going to throw him?
Oh, right outside into the
fourth
crowd.
Row. Unbelievable.
And look at all the fans literally go to the rescue of Rey Mysterio Jr. He landed on the concrete. It's essentially 3 against 2 now, and Fuerza Guerrera lights into Heavy Metal.
There's another example. I think our viewers just saw Tirantes holding Heavy Metal back and allowing Fuerza Guerrera to nail him with the punch.
Well, as great as Rey Mysterio Jr. is, as we said, he's only 5'2", 145 pounds. How is he going to deal with a guy the size of Madonna's boyfriend? The Technicos clearly in trouble right now in this match. Psicosis, Fuerza Guerrera in the ring against Heavy Metal. And a double boot. And in comes Latin Lover. Give him credit. He's not going to give up. A snapmare, and Latin Lover is now being beat upon by Psicosis. It looked like the flat of the boot right into the neck. And then Fuerza Guerrera follows up with an elbow.
Now you notice some of the leeway that we mentioned earlier that the officials will allow the wrestlers.
Latin Lover's got to be wondering where Rey Mysterio Jr. and Heavy Metal are. In comes Rey Mysterio Jr. He's clearly been injured, and Psicosis knows that and moves right in.
This is the matchup of the two students from the same camp, and look at that, he just threw him away.
About 7 feet up, if not more, and Rey Mysterio Jr., miracle of miracles, is still on his feet, and he hangs on from 7 feet up and drives the face, the mush of Psicosis right into the ring. All right, Louis Spicolli is in. I'm not sure what, if anything, Mike, that Rey Mysterio Jr. can do. A great entrance there by Latin Lover. Oh, my.
Fuerza and Latin exchanging blows.
And Latin Lover should get the best of this, and it looks like he's about to. Oh!
Super kick just nailed Fuerza.
Almost like an uppercut with the flat of the boot. The whip now into the turnbuckle. And Latin Lover knew what was coming, and Fuerza Guerrera felt what was coming.
Almost a variation of the power bomb out of the corner.
A tremendous body slam. Latin Lover, who is not known as the best high flyer in Lucha Libre, nonetheless can operate off the top rope, especially when Fuerza Guerrera is flat out. This could be it. And Guerrera moves.
High-risk maneuver by Latin Lover did not pay off, obviously. And here goes Fuerza.
A version of the Scorpion Deathlock into almost a Boston Crab. We told you you would see some breathtaking action here. And you have seen it so far, and we're only 2 matches in. I hope our voices can hold out, Mike.
Non-stop action, unbelievable acrobatics, great daredevil moves by the stars of AAA and IWC.
You're going to see a lot of dives here, a lot of rope action. Totally unpredictable. And Fuerza Guerrera, it looks like at 40 years old, is suffering the blows of these young Turks, and Heavy Metal backs up. Oh, a spinning reverse kick. And Guerrera goes out, and Psicosis comes in and misses. And the tide has turned to the Technicos. Oh, how could he have? I can't believe it.
Unbelievable balance off the top rope.
Oh, look at that, Psicosis. Luckily, tucked his neck under and was not injured, and Heavy Metal goes outside.
Tilt-a-whirl backbreaker in the ring by Rey Mysterio Jr. on Fuerza, but now Madonna's boyfriend comes in to make it a 2-on-1 situation.
We promised a wild style, I beg your pardon, quicker and fast-paced action, and Rey Mysterio Jr. can create moves out of nowhere. He thinks literally not on his feet, but in the air, and Fuerza Guerrera is forced into his own partner. And look out, Mysterio is on the 3rd rope. He dives right on to Madonna's boyfriend.
Unbelievable somersault off the top rope by Rey Mysterio Jr. onto Madonna's boyfriend, out on the floor.
This is the most eagerly anticipated event of the Mexican community since the World Cup of Soccer, and you can see why. When worlds collide, we're live on pay-per-view. And Fuerza Guerrera goes into the turnbuckle to no effect. Heavy Metal with a suplex.
Amazing cat quickness to the top, but he missed.
These, of course, 2 former teammates. They know each other extremely well. The body slam by Guerrera. And he essentially sits on the neck of Heavy Metal. Well, that was a submission. Wow. That's it.